So here's power running board motor part 2. See that small crack in there? You can see light through it. So I went back and to do an Amazon return on that other motor, and one person who had bought it before left a review, and they said that there was a protrusion that prevented you from removing the motor from the bracket when the bracket is mounted to this frame. So I guess that might be what's happening. So I'm going to try again to get this one off, and I'm going to loosen these bolts here, or nuts, and try to get the this bracket assembly detached from this frame enough to have the motor clear. And hopefully that's the issue, and I can get it out pretty easily at that point. But we're gonna give it a shot and see what happens. So potential issue number 1 is that bolt that was in here, that 8mm. So I didn't hit that hard enough earlier to get this wedge or shim or whatever to not loose. So what I just did was I ran the bolt back in to probably like a 1/4 inch out, and then I really smacked the head of it with a hammer, and it flushed. And so then I pulled it out, and then this wedge dropped out. So I'm gonna try to remove the motor again right now, just to see if there's any more movement in it. There probably will be, because now the bracket is moving freely around the motor shaft, so you can actually kind of actuate. It's hard to do with one hand, but I can move the bracket now where it was rigid earlier. So I'm going to try that, and I'll check back in. So that protrusion is definitely the problem. Obviously that was part of it, but that's not the only problem. So I'm gonna pull these 3 10mm, and we'll see if we can get it off at that point. None of these bolts have been really tight either, so it's kind of a little concerning, I guess. But whatever. It didn't fall off, so I guess it's tight enough. One of these days I'm going to buy an electric, one of these battery powered ratchets. Don't really want to spend Milwaukee or Makita money though, so if anybody has a recommendation for a brand, I'll listen to it. Alright. This one at the top is slotted, so it like it doesn't have to come all the way off, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull it just to see. Okay. Now let's see. Okay, I've got a little movement here. I don't know if that's enough. Probably not. Wonder if I can get a pry bar under here maybe, because there are some more hex head or Allen heads or something down underneath here, but I don't know if that actually needs to come out or not. Grab a pry bar first. See how we go with that. you go. Appreciate you, Amazon review guy. Real man of genius. So here's the two motors. There is a difference. Well, there's a couple of differences. I don't think it matters though. This is shaped slightly different, but it looks like the distance is the same. So it's probably okay. Also, kind of the bigger thing, and I don't know that this is really a problem either, necessarily. So you see these two pads here that are shiny. That one here and that one over here. So the problem here is that the old motor is drilled and tapped there. Both of those, you can see that. And it's for that little plastic cover. That also secures the wiring harness. So I'm not gonna be able to use that unless I could just slide it in there somehow. I don't think it really matters, but we'll see how that part goes. Now, kind of to the clocking of the motor that we talked about earlier. If you notice, they're close, but not the same. So you see where that notch is. This notch is around the way a little bit, so that'll need to be moved. So what I wonder, can probably put 12 volts on these pins to have it move. I suspect that the red and the yellow, those are bigger than this, the brown and blue. So I bet the red makes it turn one way and the yellow makes it turn the other, and the black's ground. But what I want to do first is just hook it up to the truck and see if maybe it, you know, maybe it works itself out. So I'm gonna try that first and I'll report back. If not, then we'll be rigging up some probes and trying to turn it like that. So here we are with the motor properly supported. I'm gonna try to get you guys positioned appropriately, or at least you can see it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is open the door, and because when the motor came off, it was the step was in the down position. So it should kind of still be in the down position. So let's see. Okay. All right. So that should be down. The door's open. Let's compare. Got. No. No. Well. No. It's not quite right. Okay. So let me just look at a different angle. No, it's definitely not. I don't know if you guys can see that, but so I need to get this, I need to get the new shaft basically well, I need it to turn clockwise. Yeah, some number of degrees. Okay, let me close the door and see. Maybe there's some kind of calibration thing. I don't know. Okay. No. All right, open again. Okay. No, it does need to turn. Okay. So plan B. Grab my don't know. I'll try it with my jump box and see if I can just kind of bump it the right direction. You might be able to unscrew this and like clock the actual gear, but I'd rather leave that closed because who knows what kind of bearings in there and fall out, whatever. But okay, so I'm gonna pull that loose, get my little rig set up, and then I'll be right back. So what had happened was I tried several iterations of applying voltage to these pins, and apparently it's not as straightforward as just putting 12 volts in ground on one of the colors. But anyway, I thought I'd come back out here, plug it back up, try to do a thing where I let it turn enough and then unplug the motor when it's in the appropriate, in approximately the right position. And I didn't even have to do that. I just plugged in and opened and closed the door again another couple times, and it's pretty dang close. I think it's right, actually, or as right as it's gonna get. It's slightly off, but we'll see. I'm gonna try to reinstall it, and hopefully it works. So that took a minute of banging, but it's in, and I'm gonna bolt it back up and we'll give it a shot. I've got a kind of worried, I guess, that it might be a little bit off, but we'll see how it works out. So here we are, back underneath those two that go in toward the outside. 2 bolts. This guy's killing me. There are grooves or like notches in the bracket so that it looks like it would go over and just sit down, but I just don't think that there's enough space for it to do that. But why would they make it that way if it's not? I don't know. I'm not gonna deal with it. What I'm gonna do is get these started at the bottom and then be able to put those in and then make sure everything's centered up before tightening it down. So we're gonna go with that. I don't have the floor jack yet. I might end up having to go get it. We'll see how this goes. I'm just gonna try to kind of hold it and get it going and see how far we get. Not very far. Let's make sure that I've got this vaguely in the right direction, or vaguely in the right location rather. It was right above that. Okay. So, oh, okay. Okay. Floor jack it is. wasn't very fun, but back on. So here's what I'm gonna do. Since it was down when I dismounted it, I'm gonna open the door and then plug the harness in, so it should be down, and then close the door. It should come up. Here we go. It's a little noisier than the other one, or at least a different sound, but hey, I'll take it. Success.